Hi friends, Tracy.bish here, Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia. I am sharing with you my 3D swap for the Organised swap at OnStage in Brisbane. Now I've packaged them all up and I didn't sort of think before doing this video, so I don't have one to actually show you other than the front of it, but I'll share it with you as we go along. I'm using the beautiful birthday celebration stamp set, which is part of the Wildflower Birthday Suite in the Mini Catalogue. You can find it on page 43. I'm also using stylish shape dies. We have the silver and gold trim combo and Versamark ink, metallics, embossing powder, pretty in pink cardstock, pool party cardstock, and a piece of that beautiful specialty paper, that Wildflower Birthday 12x12, which is part of that suite as well. So to start off with, this box pulls out on the sides and then we have a hidden box underneath that holds our treat, and that's what we're going to create first. So this pretty in pink cardstock measures 7 1/4 by 10 1/2, and on the 7 1/4 inch side we're going to score at 3/4 of an inch and 1 1/2 on one side, and then we're going to turn it to the other side and do the exact same thing, so 3/4 and 1 1/2. And then for the 10 1/2 inch side we're going to do a few more score lines. So once we turn it round the other way, we're going to score at 3/4 of an inch, 1 1/2, 2 1/4 and 3 inches. So that's 3/4 of an inch, 1 1/2, 2 1/4 and 3 inches, and we're going to do that on one side and then turn it to the other side so it's still on the 10 1/2 inch side, and score on the other side. And this box is like a shadow box. You're sort of folding over the sides to create that shadow box feel. It's a little bit different than a normal size shadow box because we're only folding in 2 sides rather than on all 4. So as you can see, one side only has 2 score lines on each side, but the other one has 4, which creates that shadow box card. So hopefully, if you're watching, maybe you are a customer that or customer of Stampin' Up and you want to see what everyone's creating for the OnStage gifts, or maybe you're a demonstrator and you want to see what everyone's created as well, or you've been able to swap with me, you've been part of the Organised swap and you want to see how this box is created. So welcome everyone, I'm really happy to have you here. Just quickly, if you haven't been on my channel before, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button. That would really make me so happy, as well as the little thumbs up icon, and yeah, leave me a comment if you love this video. Don't forget, I'm also taking part in the Funfold Organised swap, and then I'm doing general swapping with a card and a 3D project as well. So lots and lots of great projects coming. So now I have it at the 7 1/2 inch across the top, and where all those 4 score lines are, on the second one in, I'm going to cut up to that very last score line there, and then also the next one over. And what we're going to do is this one on the very tab side, the very right side, we're going to cut off that completely, and also just miter tab that tab that's on the right hand side. So there we go, we end up with a little tab here, so we're going to do some miter cuts on that. And then down the very bottom where that tab is, I'm also going to just do a little bit of a miter cut there as well. And so you're actually getting rid of quite a lot of cardstock there, but that's going to help the box go together. So you can see I've cut all those little miter cuts on each of those tabs. So here we're going to go all the way up to that 4th score line again, and then the next one, and that very end one, we're going to take that out completely and miter cut that end tab as well, and then chop off all those next ones and then just miter cut on each one. So we're actually going to do that on all 4 sides. I'm not going to talk you through each of that because you can see for yourself. I am super excited. I'm hoping this is we're almost a week out, actually a little less than a week now that I'm doing the voiceovers for these videos, and we have a cyclone going on up in Queensland at the moment. I am in Melbourne, and I am so terrified that it's going to get called off. So I am keeping my fingers, toes crossed, hope all goes well. And yeah, I don't know, I've been looking forward to this for a whole 12 months, so it's really yeah, I don't know what to say, because I do feel sorry for everyone that's in Queensland right now, but I really hope that there's not that much damage and it comes and goes really quickly. So we're going to add our adhesive of choice. I'm using the tear and tape on the front end, so the proper end of the box. So this is the score lines fold under. So all 4 tabs we're going to add tear and tape, and then our 2 end tabs on the opposite ends, I'm going to add tear and tape to those as well, and that will place the box together. I'm going to also turn it over, and then on the opposite side, the 2 side tabs that don't have any adhesive on them, we're going to add adhesive to that, and we only need to add you know, 1 strip of that, because it's just folding down on itself inside the box, whereas the other ones we're folding over, and I've added 2 layers of that tear and tape just to make sure that that has a really nice hold. You don't want this to fall apart. Okay, we're going to add we'll place our box together by taking off the backings of each of these 4 little tabs, and then just pulling it together, the box together, and lining up those edges so they're nice and straight. Honestly, boxes are very, very easy to do as long as you're lining up and making sure everything's really straight. It should go together perfectly for you. So we're just lining up the 2 edges, and then tear and tape has a really strong hold. If you're using liquid glue, you are going to have to hang on to it for just a few, maybe 20 seconds, just to make sure you get a good hold. Okay, so we have a little box forming here. I'm also going to bring in my bone folder and just push down on that to make sure that that adhesive is nice and adhesived. I don't know, that's not a word, but you know what I mean. And then these 2 end tabs, we're just going to push them over and run my bone folder over it. This just adds a little bit of extra stability because it doubles over and strengthens the sides of the box. You probably, you know, you could probably get away with not doing this, but I like that extra strength there as well. Okay. And then the next thing, which is probably the trickiest part of this box, we're going to take off our adhesive for the very end tab. And what you're going to do is you're going to actually put the very end of that tab inside the box to the very edge. As you can see, it sits down in there, and then if you just roll that the folds forward, it actually sits like a shadow box. So that's the easiest way, and as long as you're sitting it down in that corners like so before you roll, it will you know, adhere in the exact spot that you need it. Hope that makes sense. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to push down a little bit, and then once I've done both sides, I'll put it onto the other side, and then just press, you know, firmly but not too firmly, and you'll have a good strong adhesive. Highly recommend using tear and tape for this. I think the liquid glue would just be a little bit too finicky. Once it's got a strong hold, it's good, but you really need to you know, not have to hang on to it for too long. So that is our little box ready to go. Now we're going to move to our inside. I'm putting a little, it's like a little cake, birthday cake treat. So I'm just going to stamp Hooray on the inside with Pretty in Pink ink. It just gives a little bit of extra sparkle when they take it out. You could leave that out. Anyway, for the lid of this little box here, we have a piece of Pretty in Pink cardstock. It's 5 3/4 by 3 1/4, and I'm going to score at 3/4 of an inch on both ends, and one's going to be our tab to hold it in place inside the box, and the other one is going to go on the outside of the box, and you'll see it will all make sense once we're finished, and I can show you the end of the box. So we're just going to place it inside. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you get a good coverage on both sides and cover the inside of that box. And once we sort of know whereabouts we're going to go, I'm going to use liquid glue for this because it will give you that little bit of wiggle room to make sure that it's even on both sides. If it's not even, and you know, you could have it on one side a little bit more and you'll see a gap with the treat. So it's just easier to use a little bit of liquid glue. Just placing that down in inside the box, and then once you have it lined up correctly, I'm just going to use my bone folder, or you could use your finger, and just make sure that that liquid glue holds nice and tight. You can see a little bit of glue there. It won't matter, it'll dry clear and I can take it out anyway. So just use the bone folder and make sure that it has a good strong hold there. And you know, you probably get away with not even having no, actually you couldn't, because that's where our little sentiment piece goes. So forget it. If you're not cutting a hole in your lid, you could probably get away with not having that extra lid there. Okay, now we have two pieces of, and I know it's really hard because you don't know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see it in the end. We have two pieces of Pretty in Pink cardstock. These measure 11 1/4 by 3 inches. On the 3-inch side, we're going to score at 3/4 of an inch, and then turning it to the 11 1/4 side, we're going to score at 3/4 of an inch, 5 1/4, 6 and 10 1/2. So that is 3 3/4, 5 1/4, 6 inches and 10 1/2. And with both of those pieces, we're going to do that exactly the same. So on the 3-inch side, you're going to score at 3/4 of an inch. On the 11 1/4 inch side, you're going to score at 3/4, 5 1/4, 6 and 10 1/2. Now, just quickly, all the products that I've used on today's project, you can purchase in my online store if you're in Australia, or from another demonstrator in another country. If you don't already have a demonstrator that you're working with, please reach out to me, because even if you're in another country, I have friends all over the world and I can put you in touch with some really great demonstrators that you can purchase through. But yeah, if you're living in Australia and you would like to purchase, I have an online store. You can see all the products that I've used, as well as all the new products coming out, or you know, the online exclusives that are out. And yeah, I'm excited because if we get to go to OnStage, I'll be seeing the new annual catalogue and lots of new goodies. So I'm just bringing in my bone folder and making sure that all those score lines are burnished really well. I recommend using a bone folder when you're doing 3D projects, especially boxes and bags, because if you don't have a good straight edge, I don't know whether that's what it is. No, I'm not making that sense. Your box and your bag will go together so much easier if it is nice and burnished. Okay, so on this piece, we're actually going to take out that little little square and miter the tab there, and then on the middle little square, you're going to cut in and do a miter cut on each of those. I do come back and do that. Okay, so all we're doing is taking from the top one, we're going to take that little square off and miter cut the top tab like so, and then on all the other little squares, we're just going to cut up. We will miter cut each of those as well. That'll just be to adhere the box together and makes it nice and easy, and the bottom one as well, and I'll come back and do the other side as well. Now this again is something that you're going to have to pay close attention to. Not only are we not putting it together straight away, but we're going to do some die cutting. So I've got my stylish shape dies. I'm using the circle dies, and we're going to die cut the center piece from the center of this, because it's going to pull open to show the center sentiment on the box. Okay, so you can see this is how it is. I've done it this way so you can screenshot it if you need a reference as you're as you're crafting. Okay, so I have a piece of pool party cardstock. This measures 4.25 by 4.25. The DSP measures 4 by 4, which makes it really good. Out of a 12 by 12 piece, you're getting a lot of little boxes made out of this. And of course you could use whatever DSP you have in your stash. So we just adhered our DSP down to our pool party cardstock. And then what we're going to do is, this is going to be cut in half, but I need to know where the half mark is. So I'm going to bring my paper trimmer in. So it's 4.25 across, so that makes it 2 1/8 will be halfway. So I'm going to use my scoring blade. Instead of cutting it just yet, I'm going to score that in half. Then I'm going to turn it the other way and score it again in half. But this score line here, I just want the center piece, and this is to make sure that my circle die cut is correctly, like exactly in the center. I did all these at once, minus this one, and this was such a great technique to be using. So I'm going to use my third largest die, and what I did is I actually put it in my paper trimmer and marked it at half on each corner, so just to make sure that I knew where the center was for that circle, and I already had those marks there, so I'm just making sure that you could see them. And then I'm lining up those score lines with those marks on the die. That way I know that that die cut is going to be cut exactly in the center of that square. So I've got my cut and emboss machine. I'm going to line up the die with the center of, you could eyeball it if you've got a good eye. I certainly don't. You could also add a little bit of washi tape if you want to make sure that it doesn't move. I found that I didn't muck any of these up, so I was super excited with that. And because you have two layers there, both a DSP layer and a cardstock layer, you have to go through just a couple of times depending on your tension of your machine. And there we have it. We have that ready to go. I'm also going to do, with the same die, I'm going to cut out a piece of Pretty in Pink cardstock, and that's for the inside sentiment piece of the box, which you'll see as we go. Alright. Very good. Now back to our sides of our box. We're leaving the tabs at the top, as you can see, and then the two edges have where we have that 3/4 of an inch tabs on the side. I'm lining these up so they are completely in the same spot, like as though it's still one piece of DSP. And then I'm just going to bring in some washi tape and add that to the center of that bottom square section. And then I can, as you can see, there is a square there. This is where this DSP cardstock piece is going to go. So I'm just going to line it up. There is a little Pretty in Pink border all the way around, so I'm making sure that that border is even all the way around. I'm going to bring in just a pencil and mark that circle. Then I'm going to bring that die in that we're going to be using, pop that in, and I'm going to use my same pencil just to make that mark as well. And that's just for me, when I'm die cutting that circle, that I know exactly where that die is going, and you know, it's going to all line up and miraculously work for me. Okay, so we have that ready to go. And get rid of that washi tape. We're going to bring this DSP piece back in, and I'm going to cut that in half so we can adhere that to our sides of our box. So I'm just going at the 2 1/8 inch mark. It's already scored there, so it's really easy to line up as well. We're just going to cut that piece in half, like so. And we're going to now adhere those to the Pretty in Pink cardstock with just some liquid glue. Now you want to make sure that the edges of that where we've just sliced down the middle are lined up with the very edges of that Pretty in Pink, and also our circles that we have pencil marked in there as well line up. So this is really, really important, because once your box goes together, if they don't line up, it's going to sit skew-iff on your box as well. So It is, you know, and the liquid glue gives you that little bit of wiggle room too, to make sure that, you know, it's hitting the sides perfectly and it's even, and your circle die cut piece area is the same area that your pencil marks are in as well. There's a lot of talking in this video, so I really hope that you're understanding it and I'm not waffling too much. But once we have this, we're going to pop the die back in that section, and what's really great is these are stitched dies, so they have that little stitched edging, and when you're popping a die in somewhere where you've already die cut, so it actually sits in the dotted area of the DSP really well, so you know that, you know, you're going to cut in the exact same spot where it was cut previously. So I do love the dies that have got that stitched detail. It's great. Okay, so I'm going to run both of these through, and we can then create our sides for our bag, sorry, for our box. So I looked high and low for little products that I could put inside. I really wanted to do something with, you know, birthday theme. And I don't know about you guys, if you live in Australia, you know it's hard to find little treats ideas for these little treat boxes and bags that we make. I did find, now what are they called? Hang on, let me grab them. They were in the health food section. They're called Fiber 190 calorie birthday cake squares. So not only are they good for you, they're good for your gut health and fiber as well. So I don't know how they taste, but I was happy that I found something that was birthday cake related, that I could fit, create something like it's a nice little squarish style treat that I could actually put inside, and you know, it just looked good. Okay, so our two little tabs they were at the top. We're going to add tear and tape to those. And then I'm just working out, making sure that I'm putting the tear and tape on the right side. So the two little tabs on the side, you're going to add a little bit more tear and tape. This is the top of the box. And we're going to turn it over the other side. And where the tab is right next to that DSP, so where it's been die cut from, we're also going to add tear and tape to that tab as well. So there's the die cut piece. On the other side, we're going to add a little strip of tear and tape to that as well. Okay, I love the Pretty in Pink colour. So it was a new in colour last year. I could have done, you know, boy and girl versions, I suppose, with these organised swaps. But I really love how the pink turned out so pretty. And with the gold, so the gold embossing of the sentiment and the ribbon, it's really pretty. So all I've done is I've taken the backing paper off our adhesive, folded it over, and then folded the tab over the top. That means that that box is square. So that's just another little tip when you're making boxes and maybe you don't feel that they are square properly. That is a great way of making sure that they're going to be square. So taking the backings off the two corner tabs, I'm going to pop my back piece of the tab down, and then although it's not completely glued, I'm going to bring in my bone folder and just press down to make sure that those little tiny tabs, those little square tabs, are adhered down to that inside tab, and then we can take the backings off and adhere it down. So effectively we're going to make two little side boxes that it's going to slide over our treat box. So I hope that makes sense. Now one thing I have done that I haven't written down is we're going to make little extendables that will stop these two pieces that we're making here to come off the box completely. It sort of gives it that it has that stopper as well, but it's like a spring at the same time. And all I've done is I've used copy paper, so regular A4 printer paper, copy paper, whatever you want to call it. I have taken 2 pieces that measure 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, and you're going to score them at 3/8 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, 1 1/8 of an inch, 1 1/2, and 1 7/8, and you're just going to accordion fold that piece of copy paper. And you're going to make 2 because we're going to actually add them to each side of that shadow box, and adhere it to these sides. So again, it's 2 pieces of just normal copy paper, and these could be, you know, already reused. Like maybe you've printed something out and you no longer want it. Use those because you're not going to see them on the box. See how that box goes together? So 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. Excuse me. You're going to score them at 3/8 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, 1 1/8, 1 1/2, and 1 7/8, and just accordion fold it. And I've already added, see how they open up? You open the flap, and then you've got your little treat inside. See, I've got these already done. On the 2 ends, I've added some tear and tape. I actually, when I was doing all my swaps, I'd actually done more than I needed, and so I didn't want to have to redo that, but I've given you the measurements. That's all you need. So we're just going to take the backing off the tear and tape, and we're going to add that to the side of our little shadow box here. As you can see, it opens at the front. You're going to add these to the 2 sides, so not at the front and not at the back, it's at the side. Okay, so once we have these in, we can take off the other backing piece and then slide on our box piece, and then you're just going to sort of rub your hands up the side to make sure you get a good strong adhesive, and make sure that it's nice and joined correctly. And that's what's going to not only give you that spring, but it's also going to stop you from being able to pull them all apart. So just let your people know, whoever you give these to be gentle with it. Some people can be a little bit rough, but so once you've got it in place, just run your fingers down the side, and you know, that should be good enough. Okay, let's put the other one on, and then we're going to talk about decorating this. I'm using the birthday celebration stamp set. It's all on page 43. It's part of the Wildflower Birthday Suite. And inside we stamped Hooray inside the box. For our little sentiment piece, which is that die cut circle that we have done already, I'm going to stamp Make a Wish with Versamark ink. See how this goes together? So you just want to make sure that that's sides are nice and adhered. There we go. And then if I pull it apart, see, it's got that little spring to it, and then we can open for the inside. Yay! Is this not so cute? I love it. Okay, bring our circle in, and we're going to just use the embossing buddy. I want to make sure that there's no stray oils, or, you know, nothing's going to get attached anywhere that I don't want it. We're going to stamp in Versamark ink the Make a Wish. And I'm using the gold embossing powder from the Metallics Wow embossing powder pack. And you're just going to heat that with the heat tool until it becomes nice and shiny and melted. Now, what else can I tell you? Let me give you the dimensions of the box all up. It is 4 5/8 of an inch by 4 1/2. So yeah, so cute. And you could find lots of little treat ideas, maybe some lollies to pop inside. You could do a get well, maybe a get well version. A boy birthday, oh here they are, Fiber One 90 calorie birthday cake squares. I hope everyone enjoys them. I have no idea. I haven't tried them yet. I don't know whether they taste good, but it's a little bit of birthday. There we have it. Everything's popped inside. Let's bring in our gold ribbon. This is a silver and gold ribbon. I'm just going to tie a nice big bow, and we're going to attach that to our sentiment piece. Now that little die cut circle sentiment piece, I'm going to pop that up with dimensionals, and while it's closed like this is the easiest way, is just to pop it in that center piece. And then I'm going to use a mini glue dot to adhere my bow down. And then lastly, in that suite, there are some little embellishments. They are called party dots. They come in 210 adhesive back pieces. Pretty in Pink Pool Party and Peach Pie, I think, is the other colour, although it looks more yellow than peachy. I'm going to be using those to add to the box as well. So I really hope that you've enjoyed today's project. It is the Organised swap for OnStage in Brisbane here in Australia, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I really hope that the cyclone doesn't affect it, and you know, we're able to go and see friends and make new friends and have fun and craft and see the new catalogue and, you know, all the good things. And yeah, fingers crossed everyone that I'm already in Brisbane and having a wow of a time and not crying at home. Anyway, yeah, so hopefully you've enjoyed today's project. If you have, please subscribe to my video, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and yeah, I'll be back with more videos coming out. I've already got the Organised card swap, as well as the general card swap and the general 3D videos. So you'll see them all here. They'll all be out in the next few days. Alright, there we have it. What do you guys think? Love it. I think it's such a cute idea. Alright everyone, thank you so much for spending a bit of time with me. This video is quite a long one today. My voice is a little strained. I'm not used to talking this much, if you know me. But anyway, I really appreciate all your time and hope to see you back real soon. Alright everyone, bye bye.